Hey folks, this is Brett with Full Time My RV, and first I want to apologize for not having any video updates in a while. We've had an incident with my family where my mom has had some ongoing medical issues that we've been dealing with, and that has really pretty much taken me out of the game now for several months. But now I'm back. Things are going a little bit better, and we're going to try to get you some new videos up of some material that you may find interesting. First off, this is actually my 1 year anniversary living in this particular fifth wheel at this location. As many of you know that I've talked about in the past, I work for the state of Florida, and very fortunate to have staff housing locations near the facilities that I work at. You know, that gives us access to water, sewer, garbage, and somebody to cut the grass. Which makes for a really nice environment. You've seen pictures if you've looked at some of my other videos. At any rate, this is our July made our 1 year mark, and it's gone very, very well. A lot of people want to know if when you move from 1,000 square foot 2-bedroom 2-bath condo into a roughly 400 square foot RV, and do you miss the extra 600 square feet? And really you don't, because RV manufacturers make such a tremendous use of the space available to them, as you've seen in one of the other videos that I put up where I give you a pictorial view of the camper. We've got tremendous amount of storage space. I've got 4-chair dining room table that I can pull a leaf out, slide the chairs out, and you got plenty of elbow room. More than ample kitchen, a very nice living room. Plenty of room in the bathroom and the bedroom area, so they make great use of that. So you really don't wind up missing any of the square footage whenever you do move into a fifth wheel. And oftentimes you actually get a lot nicer interiors in these things, and it just depends upon the level that you're able to purchase, or if you find some good deals. I mean, I found a tremendous deal. I've got an 8-year-old at the time Keystone, Montana, which is one of the top of the line fifth wheels you can buy. And I was able to get it for $16,900 and it was in fantastic condition. During the time we've had some interesting weather. We've had a very, very cold winter, and I'm proud to say that this being a Four Seasons coach, it went through fine. We had no issues with interior water pipes freezing, although my exterior hose froze quite often. I actually had to go and take my hose and shorten it up so that it met the spigot closer, and then insulate it just to try to keep the water running in here. I also made good use of my fresh water tank, because there was many mornings that I got up that the water outside the spigot was frozen solid, and unless I'd had water in my fresh water tank, I would have been out of water to take showers, flush toilets, and things of that sort. Gas bottle usage. The 2 30-pound bottles that I had in this, I mean, we had for North Florida an extremely cold winter. Probably from about November through about February, almost every single night went below freezing. And we still, 2 30-pound bottles would last me about 2 to 3 weeks, depending upon just how much I ran the heater. I also went and bought some small radiator heaters for the house, and those did a fantastic job of helping me to use less propane, because in the wintertime propane went up quite a bit, because most of the country had cold winters. I'm down here complaining because we were below freezing every night, and there were a lot of people that had a whole lot worse conditions to go through that were further north than me. We also, in the end of January, were privy to an ice storm, which I've lived in this area of Florida for about 30 years and have never had an ice storm. Our roads throughout the entire area froze solid with about 1 inch to 1.5 inches worth of ice. I'm going to show you some pictures of the little bit of snow dusting that we got, and tell you that for the first time in my 30 some odd years of living in Florida, almost 40 years of living in Florida, we had the snow and the ice stay on the ground for up to 3 days. I'm going to do a video behind this showing you the ice storm, because I thought it was rather pretty. It did, cause quite a bit of issues with people being able to get back and forth to work, so I wound up working quite a bit of overtime, but that's life. Now for something that some of you may think is a negative. It's really not a negative if you look at it as, and this is one day for 45 minutes in 1 year of living in this camper. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying we had 0 damage and no leaks. But about right about the 1st of April, because we had a really cold spring, and it wasn't until about April that we had what we should have had in March. We had a cold front go through our area that had spawned some really bad tornadoes and lightning storms. In fact, as we moved, this continued on through April to the end of April, and if you look at, just look at Pensacola, Florida, there were areas of Pensacola, Florida that got 26 inches of rain within 5 hours. I mean, we had roads washing out that looked like rapids that you would kayak down. We had our cliff out there on Scenic Highway. It washed out in several areas. Several houses were completely destroyed. Others were flooded. You know, luckily here we had 0 damage. I live at the top of a hill that has a nice creek behind me that goes down about a 10-foot drop to that creek, and that's a good 30-40 feet behind me. You've seen pictures, so you can see the wood line. That's where that creek is at. So we came through that part of it pretty good. A few days before that storm, though, we had a tornado go through about 3 miles to 5 miles north of me, and as it progressed on through, it wound up southeast of me. And at my location, we got hit by a rear flank downdraft. Now, if you're not real familiar with tornadoes will suck air up the funnel into the cloud, and all that air that it sucks up at a certain speed has got to come out of that cloud, and it comes down in a microburst or a downdraft. And we got hit by one of those. I would have estimated, from looking at the tree damage that happened around me, that was probably somewhere in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Now, here's the rub part of that. That storm unfortunately hit at a time that I had to be asleep. I worked midnight shift, and it was about 10 o'clock in the morning, and the first thing that alerted me that there was a problem was I was awoken by some of the loudest rain I've ever heard. That woke me up first. The second thing was I realized real quick that the rain was hitting every single wall, all 4 exterior sides of this camper at the exact same time. Now, as a guy that's been through a Category 4 hurricane and a Category 3 hurricane, several other Category 2 and 3 hurricanes, I can tell you those are a little nerve-wracking, but nothing compared to what I went through in this storm. Additionally, if you look right over here, you're going to see a door. That door is one of my French doors to the living room. There's 2 of them. And those 2 doors were literally swinging back and forth like this because the 5th wheel was vibrating like I had never experienced. It was buffeting clear from the front to the back, and I've got good stabilizers. I mean, it takes a heck of a wind to even push this 5th wheel. It's stabilized so well I can actually walk around in here, and there's not a lot of bounce, if any at all. And I weigh about 205 pounds. Now, to tell you the other side of that is we made it through that storm. We had no damage here and no leaks. The neighbor next to me had some leaks around some of his seals. He's got a considerably older 5th wheel. And about 3 or 4 doors down from me and him, one of the house trailers actually had some roof damage from a tree that hit the side of his house. But we came through completely unscathed, except for maybe mentally. Even till today, and today's July 14th, when I hear high wind, heavy rain, and lightning, it still unnerves me to a degree. Before this storm came through, if I heard high wind, lightning, and heavy rain, my first thought was that's great sleeping weather. It's not great sleeping weather right now. I'm sure in time, as time goes on and we go through some more of these Florida thunderstorms, things will get better. But I can tell you the minute that I feel this thing rock, it makes me really nervous. Now, I'm going to give you some best practices. Unfortunately, that day, I couldn't have employed any of them because even though we got a weather warning, the weather radio that I had at the time wasn't one that gave you an alarm when you got a weather warning, so I didn't know that it was on top of me at that time. When I went to bed at 7 o'clock in the morning, I thought for sure that we wouldn't have those storms till 2. I had been prepared to get up at 1 o'clock, take a shower, go to a restaurant, get something to eat, ride the storms out at the restaurant or movie theater or whatever, and then come back and go to work. Well, it jumped on us pretty fast. So best practice number 1, keep an eye on what's going on with the weather in your area if you live in a fifth wheel or an RV of any type. And when you see severe weather, find some place to go. Best practice number 2, make sure that you've got good insurance. I've got insurance through a subsidiary of Nationwide, and the beautiful thing about it is not only will is my fifth wheel insured for more than its value, which means that I can get a replacement and pay off the loan that I've got on it. Secondly, I've also got in the insurance the ability to go stay at a hotel for a period of time until while my fifth wheel is being repaired or replaced. Third best practice, and probably should be the first one, get a good weather alert radio, one that has an alarm on it, because when they send that little alarm signal out, it will actually set off a very loud, audible alarm that will wake you up, and you'll know what's going on. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of those down in the video, down in the description, that you can get from Amazon.com. That's one of the ways that I kind of, make a little bit of extra cash, is through what things that I offer to you. And I only offer you the things that I recommend or would use. I'm not going to give you a bunch of junk and just throw it against the wind for you to go out and buy. But that'll be one of the things that's down in there. I highly recommend it. They're going to cost, in excess of about $50 to $75. I haven't looked yet on Amazon.com. I know the one that I purchased was $75. Well worth the money, because it's basically you're covering your safety. Think of it as a fire alarm or a CO2 or a propane alarm that you would have in your fifth wheel. You want to keep those things up and maintained. If you start thinking that yours isn't working for whatever reason, go buy a new one and replace it. Those are the things that you want to do. Well, this video is getting pretty long, so I'm going to actually cut it off here. I'm going to do another video behind this showing you the snowstorm, because I think you're going to be interested in that. And thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you later.